Hello and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to show you what processes you go through to make a remix in Logic. Now there's many ways what you can do, but it just depends on what you feel comfortable with. This is how I normally go about doing a remix. So the song I remixed is Teenage Crime by Adrian Lux. If you go to my SoundCloud you can download it for free if you like it. What I've done to start off is I had the MIDI file for it already. So what I've done basically is started off with a big kick and some reverb on it to give this off. Now what that does is just helps it make a statement at the start, and then as well as that I've just got a pad what slowly automates the control cutoff and eventually opens up to something bigger. This is for the intro as well. I've also reversed a part of the vocal, I don't know, to give it the build up. You hear that a lot in electronic music, and then all I've done is use the same part again but put the echo on it. So then that'll go over time and eventually die out for when the main part of the acapella comes in. Next, what I've done for the beat, it's a pretty simple beat. What I've just got a standard Logic preset kit, and this is for the percussion side of things. That's playing on beat 2, beat 4, beat 2, the down beat of beat 3, beat 4, sorry, and then the down beat of beat 4, and then it's the same again. Besides here, it plays on beat 2, beat 3, the down beat of beat 3, and beat 4. I've put the snare drum, because it's conventional dubstep and it's quite standard, I've put the snare drum on beat 3. I've also sent it through to a bus, and on there I've got EQ, a compressor and reverb, and that's the same for both snares. I've put a reverse kick just before the beat starts, so that way it's not just a sudden drop, it gives it something just prior to it. For the kicks, I've got it on beat 1, beat 4, that's playing on the triplet on beat 2, sorry. So then all together you have that. For the piano, a friend told me this called Mindset. He's a brilliant producer. What he told me to do with pianos is drench it in reverb, and then as well as that put and filter on it, and don't let the cutoff on the filter fully open, and it gives it a nice sound. You just set it to where you feel comfortable, and then you have that. happens now is it plays through this part, and then for the rest of the intro now, the rest of the acapella comes in. Just to add a bit more, I've put a plug in there. Now, with the acapella, I knew the original was 128 beats per minute. So what you want to do is, when you import the acapella, if you already know the tempo, double click on it, go on factory, time and pitch, and here in the tempo, you put in what it originally was, and then what you'd like it to be eventually. So obviously I went from 128 to 140 beats per minute. What I did next was just before the drop, I had this part of the vocal, and it was just that by itself with nothing else behind it. And I just like the effect it gives. It just cuts everything out besides that one thing. And then I also put the slow down effect. To do that, you want to click on the piece of audio you want it to apply it to. Over here it'll normally be as fade, so what you want to do then is click on slow down and then set it to whatever you want it to be. So if I set it to 5000, it'll do that. So you just set it to the effect what you want it, to how quickly you want it to do it. There, from here you can edit the curve on it. So if you put it in the minus, the curve goes up. Or if you put it as a plus number, it'll be like that. So you just do it to what you feel comfortable and what suits the song best. So next is the drop. What I've got is, on the drop, I've made the beat a little bit more complex, but it's not. So for the percussion elements of it, I've got it all playing 8th notes. Then I've just varied it up a bit by just changing what is being played at the time. Again, and for the kick, I've just done it to what I think suits it the best. I have a saw. And I think it adds a lot of emotion to the track, as well as filling the outloads, and then that's playing on the beat of everything. And for sometimes for the full bar. Then I have the bass. And what I've done with the bass, basically it fills out where the saw isn't playing, so that way it gives it a constant moving feel to it. Have I added anything else? No, that's it. Then it does that for 8 bars. And then for the next 8, what I've done is chopped up the acapella just to stop the repetition. I've put this in it.
Real superstars, real superstars, real superstars, real superstars.
Next, I brought the pluck in as well again.
Real superstars.
So then that'll sit nicely in the mix. And I've also added a form of bass. And then just before it goes into the next 8 bars, I cut everything out besides the drums and the acapella, so that way it does this. For this part, I added the piano. And what I've done for that, to give this the stepping effect, I've just played the notes were in the scale of the root note of the chord. So and then for this part again, to break it up even more, I've just done another acapella chop. Done there is I've just chopped the very end of that part out.
We don't waste no precious time.
So that way it echoes. I always think that gives off a nice effect and then also helps build ambience. As well as that, I add automating so that way it did eventually die out. Then for the build up, I've just basically done the intro again, except what I've done is I've done this part with the drums here and with the acapella again.
Real superstars. Real superstars. Real superstars. Real superstars. Making up for teenage.
And then what I've done there, I've just done the same effect earlier on with the slow down, except with a different part of the sample.
Making up for teenage crap.
And then with the drums, what I've done here is I've made them progressively play different intervals. So at first it's just playing on beat 1 and beat 2, then it goes and plays on all 4 beats of the bar, then it plays on 8 notes, then here it plays on the 16th notes, and then here it plays on 32nd notes. Next is the final drop. Now, to make it different from the very first drop, what I've done is added an extra saw to it, so that way when it plays, so now it's doing that, it just gives it more movement again and then makes it different to the very first drop. And then with everything together, outros, what I've done is I've kept the beat in and then brought in the piano again, and then just let the acapella play itself out. Then eventually it's just the piano and the acapella.
We don't waste no precious time. All my friends in the loop, making up for teenage crime.
And then for the outro I've just done that, and then it faded out over, I think it was a chorus of 8 bars. Or thereabouts anyway. And then that's pretty much it. For the sawtooth, I use silent. You can just pause the screen and get the settings. So there's part A, there's part B, and it's the same for both sawtooths. For the first growl, which was that one, I used massive. There's the settings. For the performer, and then there's the classic tube, and then there's the EQ. All I've done is just boosted the low end just a bit. It's the same for the other growl as well. For the Foreman filter, Foreman's bass, I've done that, and I put the dimension expander on as well, and just brought the dry wet on the sides just under halfway. And for the performer, for the pad, I used silent again, and I just used the preset in the called emotional pad. And then I just used a standard sub bass and put it running through the side chain, so that way it adds movement to it. And then that's pretty much it. If you've got any more questions and you'd like a more in-depth answer, just feel free to message me. Come like my page as well on Facebook. It's facebook.com/MichaelSearyMusic. On Twitter, it's /MichaelSeary. And I hope I helped. Any more questions, as I say, just give me a message on YouTube, Facebook or Twitter, and I'm more than happy to answer them. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Bye.